I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. This is just basically a various topics dated March 27th, 2024, the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble. And what you're looking at is pretty much the collapse of that bridge in Baltimore, the Francis Scott Key Bridge, or however it's called. And pretty much, this area was a major hub, or is a major hub, for a lot of supplies in America. And those of you that seen the video, you seen the ship losing power, which some were saying that's deliberate, which we actually believe, that they actually did this. Now, somebody, I don't remember exactly who it was, sent me a video. Oh, it was the Elder Itazawan from the Atlanta camp. Sent me a video. I'm not sure if that was TikTok. I'm not sure if that was Instagram, because it was like a recording off somebody's phone of a video. And pretty much it sounded like an English individual from England. And he showed the video, and he kind of slowed it down and paused it at certain points to show that there were sparks coming out, as you can see here. He said from here on the top and other parts, almost seems like an X to the plo to the shun. Put it together, just trying to speak in code, right? So, as we said yesterday, we believe this was something that was done deliberately, and the more the story starts to unravel, the more we believe that more and more, because this was a major hub that supplies a lot of goods to America, from what I'm understanding. And by them taking that bridge out, the bridge, I believe, took 6 years to build, and they're not going to be able to build it overnight. And it just so happens that this happened approximately, say, little less than 2 weeks before this solar eclipse that's supposed to happen, that everybody's anticipating a lot of, problems to happen. There's a lot of speculations now. Nothing may happen because it's too many people are talking about it. And that's one thing we've learned over the years watching these devils operate, that whenever they talk about something too much, 9 times out of 10, they don't, nothing actually happens. But it, remains to be seen. We'll keep an eye on it and see what happens. But this is going to cause major disturbances, major problems. It's already bad out here for people, struggling. The supply chain was already broken down from 2020, 2021, 2022, and now it's getting worse. You see prices going through the roof, and that's an indication of inflation. Has nothing to do with the prices of goods going up, has everything to do with the devaluing of the money used to buy these goods. And it's just getting worse and worse. And what that's going to cause, and you can see like something was put on there to make this. Now you're gonna have those naysayers that pretty much work for the government, that's gonna give an explanation as to why these sparks were happening, so on and so forth. But that's neither here nor there. Just another view of it, and you can see this is a little further out, and you can see more of these little sparks happening. Then there was one point where you saw a lot of smoke coming up. So it remains to be seen what's really going on with this whole situation. Now, I was listening to the Bible this morning, and what was playing was the book of 1 Samuel, the 15th chapter. And towards the end of the chapter, that whole chapter goes into, King Saul's rebellion, listening to the people, saving King Ahab, the Amalekite, and certain ones of the sheep to offer sacrifice to the Lord. And Samuel pretty much cursed him out and said, has the Lord, is the Lord pleased with sacrifices? He said, obedience is better than sacrifice, because disobedience is as a sin of witchcraft, rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft. And as you read on down into the chapter towards the end of it, it speaks about Agag thinking in his mind that, he wasn't going to get put to death. He thought things were just going to slide. And then Samuel, which was a prophet and is a prophet, hewed him in pieces. Because the Lord is eventually going to use his prophets also to bring judgment, whether on this side or in the kingdom of heaven. More than likely be the kingdom of heaven, but we'll see, because once the Lord gives that spiritual power, it's going to be on. So that kind of led my mind, the wheels turning, and I just started thinking about, Jake in general, and Esau, and all these nations that are pretty much here in America, and how the scriptures speak about. Pretty much, they speak about a race war. There's going to be class wars, there's going to be civil war, but there's also going to be race wars too. And you see a lot of tensions building up over the years, over the centuries. Tensions have been built up between Judah and Esau. And tensions are building up right now between the northern kingdom coming from South America, Central America, Esau, and even among Jake. So there's going to be a lot that's going to be going on. So it got, like I said, got the wheels turning. And I just wanted to go to a couple of precepts to highlight this point. Because we speak about a lot of things, and sometimes you might witness a period of time where, we'll go into just the chariots for a minute, to keep harping on the chariots. And another time you'll hear us, always speaking about the MOTB, which is the micro C-hip. Other times, going into different other prophecies. Sometimes, the missiles, World War III, and every once in a while, which we haven't spoken on in a while, are these race wars. And for some reason, this damn thing isn't working. So I'm going to have to maneuver somewhere else. Just bear with me 1 second. So I wanted to kind of touch on that, on the race wars. And if this thing happens to come back online, it does. If it don't, F it. Because there's plenty of other sites we could go to. Yeah, I kind of just want one that you could... I guess I could use this one. That's cool. Could use this one. Because right now this is being fresh. Anyways, let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 24. Because Yahushua gave signs of things that would be happening on the planet prior to him, appearing the second time. And this time when he appears, he's coming to bring judgment upon the wicked, and he's coming to deliver his elect. And the elect are only out of the nation of Israel. All right, no other nation. You know what? I want to start cussing, but I'm going to try to refrain. Yeah, the Blue Letter Bible isn't working at all, period. Can't even get it to come online. These were from earlier that I had opened up. And for some reason, now they're not coming up. Let me see if I type it in. Nope. So the Blue Letter Bible is down. So you know what? Why cumbereth it the ground? Why are you in the way? I just leave, I just open one up just in case it comes online. All right, so Matthew 24:3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? So they wanted to know what they had to look for when Yahushua came back, because they actually thought that Yahushua was going to come back during their, during that time. They really thought that that Yahushua was going to be with them or come back to them at that particular time. Let's go to Luke 17. But they didn't understand that there had to be a process and time for a lot of different things to happen before Yahushua would, appear on the scene again. This is Luke 17:20. And when he was demanded of the Pharisees when the kingdom of the Most High should come, he answered them and said, the kingdom of the Most High cometh not with observation. Neither shall they say, lo here or lo there, for behold, the kingdom of the Most High is within you. And they thought, let me see if I type it like that. Nope, that's too much. Let's see how, nope. I can't think of the wording of it right now. I know it's in one of the all right, let's do it this way. So Satan is fighting, for this lesson not to go out, so it must be important. Let's see. Just bear with me 1 second, Babakusha. Let's see if this is it. Yep. This is Luke 19:9. And Yahushua said unto him, this day is salvation come to this house, for as much as he is also a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man is come to seek to save that which was lost. And as they heard these things, he added and spake a parable, because he was nigh to Jerusalem, and because they thought that the kingdom of the Most High should immediately appear. So they thought, even back then, they thought that the kingdom was coming at that moment. But the thing is that it wasn't time for the kingdom to come at that moment. The kingdom came to them by way of Yahushua and by way of the doctrine that he taught. But as far as a physical, representation on the earth, it wasn't going to come till later. All right, which is coming in these times now. So Yahushua gave them just enough that what they needed to get us to this point. Now the Apostle Paul, which it was revealed to him that, before anything could happen, before that day would come, there would have to come a falling away first. And that falling away first was when Jerusalem fell back in 70 AD. So that was the beginning, of us getting back to the kingdom. But there still had to be a lot fulfilled before that could even happen. So now we're at the end, very end of this whole thing. This thing is pissing me off. We're at the very end of this whole thing. All right. Now, when we go back here, and the disciples, before they became apostles, were asking Yahushua, what is the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? When you look this word world up, for those of you who are new to this word world in the Greek, which we can't go to, obviously, because the blue letter is acting stupid. The word world here, when you look at the word world in English and in the New Testament, there are many different definitions for it. All right. This particular word here for world is the Greek word eon. The Greek word eon means an age. And what they were speaking about was the age of the ones that were in power at that time, which was the Roman Empire. So they knew that each empire would have a rise and they would also have a fall. All right. So they wanted to know when the end of the world would come. So Yahushua ran down a list of different things that would be happening prior to him showing up. And when we jump down to the 7th verse, it says, "For nation shall rise against nation." Now, this is in war. This is also, the water, the brother put it up, Eon. This is in war. This is also dealing with different races of people fighting against each other, different ethnicities. When you look the word nation up in the New Testament, sometimes you come across the word nations, sometimes you come across the word Gentiles, which goes back to the Greek word ethnos. Ethnos is an ethnicity. The ethnos or nation or Gentiles that the New Testament speaks about saving are the nation or is the nation of Israel. All right. When it speaks about nation rising against nation, it's different ethnicities fighting against each other. All right. And this is one of the things that is going to take place during this time. Now, is that something new? No, there've always been race wars, throughout history. But the difference is that this time everything is going to fall or happen multiple times, with all of the other things that are happening around the world. And the main thing to let us know that we're at the very end is the technology of the MOTB, which is the micro C-HIP, which is on the world scene. It's not something that they're talking about getting into. It's not an idea or a thought that they're concocting or speaking about. There's a possibility of it. No, these are things that are actually being done on the planet. There's a video of this Jake woman, light-skinned Jake woman, right, who was in the military, who told her husband that she had the micro C-HIP in her hand. And he didn't believe her. She went to the grocery store and she paid with, she said you could link it to your debit card. And then she paid, you just waving her wrist on this machine. And guess what? It read her information, or it read the micro C-HIP. And when it read it, her information came up and she was able to purchase those groceries. And this is why the MOTB is connected to buying and selling, which is a strong point that destroys these false prophets to say that the micro C-HIP is just sin in all its forms, or if it's an embargo, or it's Christianity or whatever. You see? So over the years, certain individuals have changed the breakdown so many times because all the stuff that they've been trying to push in there is not fitting. So they have to keep tweaking it. They have to keep, trying to mold it, so that, because they don't want to admit that it's the micro C-HIP. They might even see it, that it is the micro C-HIP, because even Bishop Nathaniel said they might throw a micro C-HIP in there. Why? Because he's trying to cover his ass. But all of these things are happening in bunches. Yeah, it's June. Ain't no microchip. It's happening in bunches. World War III is brewing. The MOTB is popping off everywhere. You just had this one man that they implanted the Neuralink into his brain. He's working the computer just off of telepathy, off of his mind. So these are all things that are being done worldwide. The shortages of food, which is going to bring famine. All of these things are happening. The earthquakes, the thunderstorms, the cyclones, the tsunamis, all this stuff that's happening, earthquakes. World War III brewing as we speak right now. These nations speaking about, coming together, to become allies against America, so on and so forth. It's all happening worldwide, and it's coming in bunches. That's the difference between now and then. It says, "And kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences, which are sicknesses, and earthquakes in divers places," meaning in different places. As we speak right now, Iceland is getting pummeled by constant, volcano eruptions. So these are all part of the signs that are happening. But the main thing we're focusing on here is nation rising against nation, which goes into your race wars. All right. Now, when we go to, let's go to 2nd Ezra 15, which your brother just posted it. But let's go to 2nd Ezra 15 before we actually go to the other one. My bad. 2nd Ezra. Come on, man. Satan, boy, he's busy, boy. He's busy. Second Ezra 15. And let's go to the 14th verse. Because you can start at the first verse. The first verse goes into prophecy, goes into the things that are happening right now. Matter of fact, verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. Why? Because the Lord is going to heal these people by the mouth of his prophets, which the prophets eventually are going to become what? The hunters. They're the fishers. They're going to eventually become the hunters. You see? And cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Yeah, because these things are going to happen because the Lord gave the word. Yahweh gave the word. Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai gave the word. And it's going to, accomplish what the Lord sent it to do. Right? So let's just jump down, because as you read on down, it speaks about the plagues. It speaks about the incredulity of the people, the unbeliefs. Not to let that, bother us. Because just because these people don't believe doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It says, for what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? And the answer to that is no. It's not going to make the faith of the Lord without effect, because his words are still going to accomplish. Why? Because he has his name backing his word. And he's not going to break his word or his law or his words, not even for his great name's sake. All right? Now, 2nd Ezra 15 and 14, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Why? Because this is going to be a worldwide event. This is going to be worldwide. Matter of fact, forget about this right now. It's going to be a worldwide event. Right. When we go to Revelation, the 3rd chapter, right? And the 10th verse. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience. This is the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai, speaking to the elect. Beginning with the prophets, which are the ones that is keeping the word of his patience. I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, because an hour of temptation is coming. The hour of temptation includes martial law, Jacob's trouble, when all these famines start happening. But the ultimate, hour of temptation would be when they implement the micro CHIP and people are cut out of society or out of this grid unless they take the micro CHIP. Just like now, you buy a phone, right? Years ago, you bought a phone, right? A cell phone. Eventually, they became smartphones. Once the smartphones started coming in, those cell phones started to become obsolete. So even if you didn't want to get a smartphone, eventually you were forced to, because there were no more updates. The phone that you had before didn't work, or it worked very poorly. And they did that on purpose to get people to merge into the smartphones. Then once people got the smartphones, they went from the 3G to the 4G, and then people that had the 3G were having problems with their connection, unless and if they wanted to have better service, they had to go to the 4G. And then once the 4G came in, then eventually the 5G came in. So the phones that were 4G eventually became obsolete, like the 3G became obsolete, and they had to go into the 5G. So these devils are conditioning people to merge into the newest or latest technology, because they're pushing everybody towards the MOTB, which is the micro CHIP. All right. It says, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell on the earth. So this hour of temptation is going to end with the MOTB, which is the micro CHIP. And when you look up this word world in the New Testament, and the word earth, right? We're dealing with the word world here in Revelation 3:10 is a different Greek word in Revelation 3:10 than you have in Matthew 24:3. The word here for world in Revelation 3:10 is the word oikomene. Now, what does the word oikomene mean? It means a whole inhabited earth. Then when you go to the word earth, because it says it here twice, the word earth goes back to the word geo, which means the whole entire planet earth also, the whole sphere, all right, the whole circle of the earth. All right. So those two words are synonymous with each other. So this event that is going to take place, that is taking place right now, is a worldwide event. This is why the whole world is interconnected by the web, the World Wide Web, and all of the technology that is out there. Now, as Elder Pastor pointed out years ago, not every single individual out there is connected to the grid, because you still have people that live a primitive lifestyle, that are not on the grid, that live off of their land, off of where they may be in a forest, they might be in some deserted island somewhere where they're not connected to the grid. Obviously, it doesn't apply to them because they're not on that grid. But anyone that is on that grid, that uses this technology, that uses a cell phone, that operates, using the banks and different things of that nature, goes to the store to buy stuff, whether it be clothing or food or whatever, order stuff online. Their requirement is going to be, you're going to have this micro chip. Okay? So it's leading everybody in that direction. These devils know exactly what they're doing. It's like a rat you put in a maze, and the rat is fighting, to get through the maze so it can get to that food. And that's what they got these people doing. It's a rat race that you can't win. The only ones that win are the international banking families. And the elect of the nation of Israel are going to resist that, and they're going to be delivered. They're going to be saved, because they're going to win at the end, even though they're losing now. You dig? So going back to 2 Ezra 15 and 14, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Why? Because of all of the things that are happening and are going to happen. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. Right, because the Lord is setting up the world for judgment. This is why he has his prophets out here prophesying. He said, let's go real quick to the book of Hosea, chapter 6. And I believe that's verse 5. Yep. Therefore have I hewed them by the prophets, and I have slain them by the words of my mouth, and thy judgments are as the light that goeth forth. Right, because right now the world is under the sentencing stage, which are the very last stages before judgment is pronounced. All right, and we're letting them know what the judgment is, because during the sentencing stage, you're being accused of the crime you've committed and of the time that you're going to do. Whether it's jail time or whether it's a fine or whatever the case may be. And then eventually, once everything is pronounced, then they bring forth the judgment. So one day you're in court, they either open the doors and let you go, or they give you a fine, but you have to pay, or you have a certain amount of time to pay if you can't pay at that moment, or they pull out the handcuffs and handcuff you and bring you right into to the processing station in these different prisons. So the world is being judged right now, or as the world is being sentenced right now, because destruction is coming to those that do not comply to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And the only ones that can comply are the Israelites, and out of the Israelites, the only ones that will comply are the elect of the nation of Israel. So going back to 2 Ezra 15 and 5, it says, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh. So these things are drawing near, and we're seeing and witnessing everything happening on the planet Earth as the Lord Yahushai said would be happening. And one people shall stand up against another. Here goes your civil wars. Here goes your class wars. Here goes your race wars. When you watch that movie, The Purge, the second one, I forgot what that one was called, but the second purge, you had, when I forgot the main character's name, but when he was outside with those people, right, they were walking past I believe that was a bank, or it might have been a church. I think it was a bank, and you see up top there was an individual that was dead, and he was just hanging there, because the people judged his ass because he was a thief. He did something to rip people off, and they judged his ass. So people are going to get fed up, and they're going to go against each other. It says, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in the hands. I lost my train of thought as to why I brought that as to why I brought that example up. But people are going to get fed up with each other. Oh, that's the class wars. That would be classified as a class wars, where you have, the common folk going against the bureaucrats, going against, the people that are in charge of banking, the people that impose heavy taxation on people, the people that impose child support on people, that it's unlawful. Those are the class wars. All right? And swords in their hands, because these swords in their hands today represent your modern day guns. And there's going to be race wars, there's going to be class wars, there's going to be civil war. Because this country, which was stolen from the so-called North American Indians, the so-called Seminole Indians, and the so-called Mexican Indians, when it was stolen, it was established upon the so-called principles of the Constitution, which gave the people the right to bear arms, to have their freedom of speech, and all these things that right now are being done away with as we speak, and have been done away with. So that's going to cause these people that believe wholeheartedly in America to take up arms against the government, because you do have that right, as an individual, if the government is corrupt, to remove those that are in power. I don't know all the specifics. You can go to the Constitution and read it for yourself. You see? So these individuals, like the Proud Boys and these these Edomites from the Bible Belt, they're prepared and ready for anything that breaks out that goes against their constitutional rights to fight against this place. So there you got your civil war. Then you had your class wars, and then you had the race wars, which are Esau against Jacob, so on and so forth. And then you're going to have Moabites out here that's going to catch it. They're going to get busted upside the head. Matter of fact, let's go to Genesis. I got some scriptures here written down. Let's go to Genesis 49. Genesis 49 and 8. Judah, this is Jacob, the patriarch Jacob, just prior to him, passing away, giving instructions to the men that made up the 12 tribes of things that would happen to them in the latter days. Genesis 49:1. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Notice he didn't call his daughter. Gather yourselves together and hear, you sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. Then it goes on, to give you about, speak about Reuben and Simeon. We get to the 8th verse. It speaks about Judah. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise, because eventually Judah, even though Judah was the fourth born, they would be the head tribe eventually, because the Lord set it up that way. And this is the point. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. And you see that over the years, the main ones that was involved in the race war between Esau was Judah in this country. At one point you had Gad, but then Gad was taken down. Okay, Tawada, yeah, Frank Grillo, that was it. Frank Grillo, Tawada, brother, Tawada. Anarchy, right? The Purge Anarchy, yep. And the individual's name was Frank Grillo, Tawada, bro. So Judah is, at one time it was Gad, but then Gad was taken over, put on reservation camps. So then when Judah was brought over to this side of the world, they fought. There have been many slave revolts, before Jake was so-called free, which they never were free, So there's been always that tension between Judah and Esau. And it gets worse and worse as each year goes by. It says, thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies, thy father's children shall bow down before thee, because they're the head tribes. But the point here is, thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Let's go from there to the book of Psalms, chapter 18 and 27. Well, I'm just going to go straight to the point, because there's a lot in here. I was going to start at 27, but I just want to get straight to the point. I'll go to 33. He maketh my feet like hinds' feet, and setteth me up upon my high places. Yeah, this is where you get your karate, so-called karate, or whatever kung fu moves. Because there was another one where it spoke about King David leaping over walls. You know, when you watch these karate flicks, you think that that's something that Moab came up with. Oh man, you see how he flew over he jumped over that wall. No, they got that from the scriptures. Salaki for that. King David did that. You know, feet like hinds feet, you can move fast, get out the way, or you can, you know, kick somebody's ass. He teaches my hands to war. You know that, you know, them different moves that you see these Moabites doing, you know, with the tiger crane style and all that bullshit. This comes from Israel. So that the bow of steel is broken by my arms. And King David had spiritual power, you know, to a certain degree. That's why he was able to break, you know, the steel with his arms. You know, then you got to remember they would fight. There was one of his mighty men that was fighting so long that his hand got stuck to his sword. That's how hard he was gripping that thing and how long he was fighting with it. That thing was like damn near seared to his hand. It says, thou hast also given me the shield of thy salvation, and thy right hand hath holdeth me up, and thy gentleness hath made me great. Thou hast enlarged my steps under me, that my feet did not slip. I have pursued mine enemies and overtaken them. Neither did I turn again till they were consumed. And these devils know that, because the scriptures say that one shall chase 1,000. And that was turned around. You see? And that was the Lord. That shows you that the Lord, you know, brought our power down. Because if not, you know, these devils would have never been able to put Jake in captivity. They would have never been able to overtake Gad. Because even when they would go to war back in the days, I believe this was written in a book. I can't remember what book it was. But there was times when Esau would be shooting at Gad. And Gad will be dodging the bullets and keep coming towards him. He'll keep shooting him. He can't hit him. You know, Gad keep dodging the bullets. He'll run up on him and kill his ass. Delete him. You know, so they were not able to take Gad over. It was the Lord that gave Esau the power and took that warrior spirit from Gad to pretty much to tone it down so that Esau could take him over. Yep, Asahel was known for having light feet as a wild roe. That's right. I have wounded them that they were not able to rise. They are fallen under my feet. Yeah, because King David, Joab, and them, they went and they slaughtered every male Edomite in Edom. But there were other Edomites in other places. For thou hast girded me with strength unto the battle. Thou hast subdued under me those that rose up against me. Thou hast also given me the necks of mine enemies. You know, so Judah's hand is going to be in the neck of their enemies, that I might destroy them that hate me. So now let's go from there. Let's go to Isaiah 13. See, because these nations, I just remembered another one. These nations are not going to escape. Let me just get this other one so I don't forget it. I don't want to forget this one. Okay, so where are we? Isaiah 13 and 14. It says, and it shall be as a chased roe, meaning who? Esau and the other nations. They're going to be chased. You know, when you have a roe, which is, I believe that's a female deer, if I'm not mistaken. And the slightest sound, they get spooked. Well, that's how these nations are going to be when the Lord roused Jake's spirit up. Because that's exactly what the Lord is going to do. When we go back to Genesis 49, the Lord is going to rouse Jake up. You see how docile Jake is and all, you know, shucking and jiving and all weak, simplified. Well, the Lord is going to turn their spirit up. Verse 9, Genesis 49 and 9. Judah is a lion's whelp, meaning a young lion. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. Right, because they forgot who the enemy was. And this is why they're constantly fighting against each other. Fighting against the other tribes. Because they forgot who the real enemy was. You know, they went down to the what you call it with guns, and they came back with jobs. Whitey is a trip. Inside joke. He stooped down. He couched as a lion, and as an old lion. So Judah pretty much just became complacent. You know, lazy. You know, they said they got tired of chasing after the enemy. You know, just like an old lion, when he gets old, he can't really hunt no more, and eventually he just goes somewhere and lays there and just dies. Well, that's pretty much what Jake did. They gave up. They lie at the streets of the corner. You know, pretty much they fainted. Who shall rouse him up? The Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is going to rouse him up. Why? Because it is written. All right? So let's go back to Isaiah 13 and 14. And it shall be as a chase roll, meaning the other nations are going to be running. They're going to be running. They're going to be hiding. And they're going to be a sweating. All right, inside joke. It says, and as sheep that no man taketh up. Yeah, they're going to be out there. They're going to have it bad. You see how now you go around these goddamn Edomites and these Moabites, and they act all proud, especially them fucking Edomites. They act all proud. Well, guess what? In that day, that pride is going to be wiped off of that stupid face of theirs. You know, when the Lord put the spirit in Jake to really get loose on him. It says, they shall every man turn to his own people and flee everyone into his own land. Yeah, because you see that happening now. These other nations are leaving. So how much more do you think that they're going to be trying to get the hell out of here when the Lord turned Jake's spirit up and they start busting these nations upside their head? Right now, you got this thing where you got these Jake men out here. I believe it's Jake, if I'm not mistaken, going around. I believe it's New York. I'm not sure if it's any other city, but I know for sure in New York. And they, you know, according to the reports and the videos, they busting, you know, seeing women by themselves with you know, on their cell phone and just busting them upside their head. You know. Now we don't. We know that the Lord is going to eventually get these proud ass women. So we don't know if that's just something that's going on that they're doing on purpose, like that brick lady bitch, or if this is something that's actually going on, and you have these wild Jakes out here, you know, busting these women's asses. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through; they're going to be deleted, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. And these Sambos that try to help Esau, guess what? They're going to be served too. The Lord's going to serve their ass, you know, by other Jakes. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Look, don't take it personal. It's just judgment, baby. You know, their houses shall be spoiled and their wives ravished, which goes back to 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter and the 16th chapter. These things are written. They're going to happen. Race wars, class wars, civil war, war in general. Prophecy will be fulfilled. All right? Now, let's go from there. Let's go to the book of Psalms, the 137th chapter. Oh, yeah. See, this is what these devils are trying to get away from. But they tried to run away, but they couldn't get far. Isaiah 37:7. Remember, O Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, what they did to us, you know, to our forefathers, you know, the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, going all the way back to when the Babylonians, you know, besieged Jerusalem and took Jake down back then. Esau was there helping a monkey ass out. Who said, race it, meaning throw it down, destroy it utterly. Even to the foundation thereof, don't leave nothing. That's how much hatred these devils had. But these devils can have hatred to us. But remember, Ak, Deuteronomy 23:7, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite. Fuck out of here, man. O daughter of Babylon, because the Edomites are the daughter of Babylon, because today they are Babylon the Great. That's why he speaks about, you know, in Isaiah 47:1, come down, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Because America is the daughter of Babylon. The Edomites are the modern day Babylonians, spiritually known as Babylonians. O daughter of Edom, who are to be destroyed, and they will be destroyed utterly and completely. You can read Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51. You can read Revelation 17, 18, 19. It says, happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. Right. Because how we know that the Lord is going to get Esau, but how is the Lord going to get Esau? Because you have these individuals say, well, judgment belongs unto the Lord. Vengeance belongeth unto the Lord. You're right. Vengeance does belong to the Lord. But how is the Lord going to exact this vengeance? Let's go to Ezekiel 20. Matter of fact, let me get this other one before I forget. Hopefully it'll come back up. Or if I just... Okay, cool. Ezekiel 25 and 14. And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom. See, so the Lord is going to pay these devils back. So he's going to be the one that lays his vengeance on them. That's why it says, wait for me until I rise up to the prey. Because it's the Lord's determination to bust these devils up. And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel. So the Lord is going to get these devils by allowing us to get them. And they shall do in Edom according to mine anger and according to my fury, because our anger and fury is not enough. We don't remember all of that stuff that they did centuries before. Going all the way back to the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire, through the Renaissance period. We don't know every single thing that these devils have done. But the Most High know. He sees though. And they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord Yahweh B'Shem El Shai, because he's going to put it on these devils. All right. Going back here. Psalms 149 and 5. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand. The two-edged sword represents a killing instrument. To what? Execute vengeance upon the heathen, the nations, Esau included, and punishments upon their people, to bind their kings with chains. So all nations are going to go into captivity. You can read Jeremiah 30 and 16. To bind their kings with chains. These are their rulers, the top echelon. I'm not talking about, just some rinky-dink devils. I'm talking about top of the line. I'm talking about their international banking families that rule and govern and control the whole world. And their nobles with fetters of iron. This is dealing with the ones that officiate the business for the higher-ups. Like your so-called presidents and your so-called world leaders, so on and so forth. To execute upon them the judgment written. Where is it written? In the scriptures. This honor have all his saints, praise ye the Lord. So the Lord is going to exact vengeance. Vengeance does belong to him, but he's going to use Israel, he's going to use us to exact that vengeance when the time comes. And there's nothing you could do about it. So back in Psalms 137 and 9, happy shall he be that taketh thy and dasheth thy little ones against the stones, because this is exactly what you did to us. You want to know what your future is? Go back and look at what your forefathers did. Well, that was them. That wasn't me. Well, guess what? You being prepared for slaughter for the iniquity of your fathers. How about that? Always this lame excuse. Oh, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. Yeah, well, you got to pay for it. You got to pay the tab. Because really, you are your forefathers coming back in their reincarnation. And this is why that devil vocab doesn't want to accept reincarnation. Because he knows if they do accept it, which it is biblical, they know that's pretty much their ass. They're going to have to pay for what their forefathers did. And that's why he said he doesn't accept reincarnation. Micah 5 and 7. And the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many people as a dew from the Lord. Who's the remnant of Jacob? The Israelites that are here today. They're going to be among many people as a dew from the Lord. When you wake up in the morning and you see that dew on the grass all over the place, it's everywhere. So Jacob's going to be everywhere and in every place on these nations. As the showers upon the grass that tarrieth not for man, nor waiteth for the sons of men. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles, the actual heathens, in the midst of many people, as you see here in America and abroad, as a lion among the beasts of the forest. The beasts of the forest are afraid of lions. As a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who, if he go through, both treadeth down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver. It's the judgment of the Lord, and no one is going to be able to deliver any of these nations away from that. So that's why these tensions are increasing. And this whole situation that happened, with this bridge, being, pretty much taken down, is going to cause more disruption in the supply chain. They already said that this area, in Baltimore, from the reports, that there was high crime there already. So what do you think is going to happen now? Now that, what was it, like over 1,500 people, or 1,500 or 15,000 people, if brothers remember, that are going to be out of work now because there's no way for them to get back and forth to work. And all of this area right now is shut down. Ships can't go through or anything. So that's going to disrupt passage through the water. That's going to disrupt passage through the land. That's going to cause a lot of truckers to not have any work or to have to reroute somewhere else. That's going to cause ships that would pass through here to have to reroute somewhere else. However they're going to do that. 15K to water, brother. 15,000. Yeah, so yeah, man. So this is going to cause a lot of problems. So they did this systematically. This was a chess move. Of course, ultimately it's by the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, but he put the spirit on these devils to do that. So, hey, it's going to get hot out here. All right, so the last precept I have on this is the book of Zechariah, chapter 9. Going to read a couple of verses there. We might just read to the end because it's not that many verses. Let's go to the 12th verse and we'll read to the end. It says, turn you to the stronghold, you prisoners of hope. We are the prisoners of hope. The stronghold is who? Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, beginning with the names of Yahweh, Yahushai, and this doctrine, this truth that is being taught out here. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee, because we're going to get these devils, and the Lord is going to make them pay double for what they did to us. When I have bent Judah for me, Judah represents the southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and filled the bowl with Ephraim. Ephraim represents the northern kingdom. Ephraim and the rest of the northern kingdom. All right. So the Lord is going to cause both of these tribes and the nation of Israel to come together as one. Right, and raise up thy sons, O Zion, which are the Israelites, against thy sons, O Greece, these Edomites. All right. Now the name Greece in the Hebrew goes back to the Hebrew word Yawan. Now the word Yawan goes back to one of the sons of Japheth, and this is why they'll say that the so-called Europeans today are Japhet or Japhetic, and they are not. The original people of the lands of Europe and the Mediterranean Sea were all brown-skinned people. Today you would call them Polynesians. All right, and when you look at ancient pictures of these peoples, they look just like the so-called Polynesians. Right? The problem is the reason why you have the so-called, the white man, the Edomites, in those lands is because they conquered and colonized those lands. That's why you don't have the original members. So they conquered the lands and assimilated themselves to call themselves Greeks and all of these different terms and names. You see? But the original people of those lands, were not the Edomites. Yep, the pigs of Japheth, that's right. It says, O Greece, and made thee as a sharp of a mighty man. Right, because the Lord is going to make Jake raise up. He's going to put that spirit back in Jake. You see? And that's just the beginning of the greatness that Israel is going to have in the kingdom of heaven. These nations are going to learn to fear Jake again. And here it is in the low state, these nations get nervous when Jake comes around. So just imagine when the Lord, turns us up. And the Lord shall be seen over them. What? In the chariots. And his arrows, which are the missiles, shall go forth as the lightning. And the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai shall blow the trumpet, because that's the end of the world, and shall go with whirlwinds, which are the chariots of the south. The Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai of hosts shall defend them, and they shall devour and subdue with sling stones. Right, because Jake is going to get busy out here on these nations. I just want to go to the defending part real quick. Book of Isaiah 31. Salakia. And 5, as birds flying, so will Yahweh Bashem Yahushai of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also he will deliver it, and passing over he will preserve it. All right? So the Lord is going to deliver his elect. So going back to Zechariah 9:15, the Lord of hosts shall defend them, and they shall devour and subdue with sling stones, and they shall drink and make a noise as through wine. Right? So in other words, they're going to be drunk off of the blood of these nations. And they shall be filled like bowls, and as the corners of the altar. That's dealing with when you had the sacrifice, you would have the bowls on the altar, and the blood would fill those bowls. All right. And the Lord their power shall save them in that day as the flock of his people, for they shall be as the stones of a crown, which are the chariots, the lights from the chariots, lifted up as an ensign upon his land. And that's why these nations are going to be like, we fools are counted as life madness. This goes hand in hand with Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. For how great is his goodness, and how great is his beauty. Corn shall make the young men cheerful, and new wine the maids, because we're going to get everything back. The land of milk and honey. All right, we're going to be reestablished back on the earth. This is why the Apostle John saw the vision of New Jerusalem coming down from heaven, which was the actual city he saw, but it represented the nation of Israel being beautified and glorified once again on the earth. How about that, man? All for the glory of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and the exaltation of those names Yahweh and Yahushai. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say, Shalom.